Clearfield, but that's causing backups all the way to Riverdale. So congestion here, at least 2 lanes, and it will be this way for another half an hour. Give yourself extra time headed southbound there on I-15.
Back to our election coverage. Tribal members on the Native American reservation in San Juan County also participated in the Navajo Nation election yesterday. President Jonathan Nez says residents face a number of challenges and barriers when it comes to voting. Lots of people there do not have home mail delivery. They have to travel far distances to post offices or to the polls to vote. But he says their voter turnout numbers look great this year.
We're going to break numbers here. To see this many Navajos engage in the political process makes me proud to be the Navajo Nation president as well as a U.S. citizen.
President Nez says the issues at top of mind for tribal members are the COVID-19 pandemic and economic recovery. They're hoping for a presidential administration that will protect sacred sites from resource extraction, improve healthcare services, and meet infrastructure needs.
And checking on the race for Utah Attorney General, incumbent Sean Reyes has now defeated Democratic challenger Greg Skordas. Sean Reyes got 61% of the vote, Skordas 34%, and he has already conceded. Now, Reyes has been serving in our state's Attorney General's office since 2013. Skordas, a well-known attorney in the Salt Lake area who's been practicing since 1982. We caught up with Skordas yesterday, who pointed out there hasn't been a Democrat elected to a statewide position in 24 years. Well, he says running as a Democrat in a Republican state comes with disadvantages. He ran to give Utahns a choice.
I've had so many people come up to me and say, thank you for giving us a choice. Thank you for giving us someone to consider. Even if they don't vote for me, they're just so grateful that the two-party system is we're at least trying to make it work.
Now, we reached out to Reyes' campaign for comment, but we're told he wasn't available to the media yesterday.
And in the race for Salt Lake County mayor, it looks like incumbent Jenny Wilson will keep her seat. She has almost 55% of the vote this morning. Republican challenger TRENT STAGGS falling behind at 41%. STAGGS says he joined the race for Salt Lake County mayor shortly after the Olympia Hills controversy. He's publicly criticized Mayor Wilson's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic, saying she didn't do anything outside of a mask mandate. He promised to increase testing if elected. Both Wilson and STAGGS told ABC4 News they'd be campaigning right up to the deadline to vote last night.
I felt like I put everything on the table, making tough decisions during COVID. I know they were the right decisions.
The voters want that change, and they want to be able to have somebody that can lower taxes, restrain spending, and implement a vision.
As you may remember, Wilson was elected to the position just 2 years ago in a special election to replace Representative Ben McAdams. STAGGS has been serving as the mayor of Riverton for the last 2 years.
6:28's the time, still ahead on GMU. The presidential race still too close to call this morning. Our local political experts break down the race for the White House and the big contest here in Utah. Plus, many voters had anxiety this election. And why they say leaving the polls was a sense of relief.
And before we head to break, let's take another look at Utah's 4th congressional district race. Democrat Ben McAdams with 50% of the vote, Burgess Owens 46%. This race still too close to call. As we head to the break, here's a look at our race for Utah's governor. Lieutenant Governor Spencer Cox now 64% of the vote. Chris Peterson has conceded 31%. Let's take a live look at our Utah State Capitol. Look at that beautiful shot this morning. Good Morning Utah will be right back with more results after the break.
ABC4 News, your local election headquarters.
I'm Sarah Martin. Here are the top stories we're following for Good Morning Utah following Election Day. Election results are still coming in this morning, but we do have a few final results we can share. Utahns voted to remove slavery as a punishment for crime in our state constitution. Back in November 2018, we here at ABC4 reported slavery was still technically legal in Utah. This year, Utah voted yes on Amendment C to remove that law. That vote 80% to 19%. Voter turnout in Utah already at record levels. 1.2 million Utahns voted in yesterday's election, blowing 2016 out of the water. We'll get updated ballot numbers at 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. today. Election officials want to remind people nothing is final until counties certify results 7 to 14 days after the election. That's November 17th. Find up-to-the-minute results on abc4.com. We'll have more of your top stories coming up in about 10 minutes.
And the stress over this election has seemed to be this year extremely high. The American Psychological Association says 7 in 10 people consider the 2020 presidential election a, quote, significant stress. But once voters we talked to cast their ballots, their anxiety dropped. ABC4's Jordan Burroughs talked with some anxious voters and shares why leaving the polls was a sense of relief.
We've seen more of that stress than ever.
Stress and anxiety plaguing voters as they hit the polls Election Day.
But we've also seen some positive,
including a historic amount of voters throughout Utah. However, that does not take away any mental pressure voters faced, especially this year.
I just feel like there's a lot of pressure to pick the right person, and I mean, it's kind of hard, who is the right person?
It does make it a little bit hard, but I mean, I usually try not to let the elections bother, but it kind of does, yeah.
Avery Holton, an associate professor of communications over at the University of Utah, says the stressors are coming from several factors, including a divisive election and a global pandemic.
Uncertainty is one of the things that plagues almost all of us, right? I feel something in my chest today. What is it, or where is it coming from? And that could be personal, or it can just be out in life right now.
But how can you better manage that anxiety and that stress?
Give yourself a break. Figure out those things that make you feel calm. Cut out the things that make you feel anxious.
The anxious feeling, for the most part, went away as voters walked out of the polling sites Tuesday. Take it from Chris Allen.
A sense of relief because, everyone's vote matters. I mean, even though there's a lot of people who think that their vote doesn't matter, everyone's vote does matter at the end of the day.
From a West Valley polling location, Jordan Burroughs, ABC4 News.
Election results are still pouring in this morning, and no winner has been declared in the race for the White House. So here's where we stand as of right now. Joe Biden is leading with 238 electoral votes. Donald Trump, 213. Both need 270 to declare victory. Right now we have 7 states are simply too close to call, which likely will decide our next president. So joining us to break down the presidential race and the biggest races in Utah is the director of Utah's Hinckley Institute of Politics, Jason PARRY. Jason, thanks for joining us here this morning. What do you make of the race for the president today?
So glad to be with you. This was such an amazing night. I know it's a lot of anxiety and no one likes to wait, but the ups and downs of this one were just quite phenomenal, particularly given the backdrop that this presidential race is in with the worst public health crisis we've had in a century here, the economy kind of on the brink, so many important questions, and that's why this race was so hotly contested, and it's just so hard that we still don't have the answer who's going to win. This one is way too close to call.
What do you think is the biggest determining factor that gives us this tight race today?
Well, it's those 2 things I just mentioned. Right now, the people in the United States are looking at the things they care about most. They're looking at their health, their safety, their jobs, the ability to put food on the table. And you put around all this, the pandemic and the response from our leaders in the country, and people are realize that they have to vote on people that are making decisions about the things they care about most in their lives, the things that are most important to them. And because of that, I will tell you, it looks like America has woken up to a serious extent and decided to engage in a very serious way, because these are very serious questions that they're electing people to take care of.
When we look at the polls here, it appears just like in 2016, the polls have underestimated the president's support. I'll give you an example there. Pennsylvania, it had Biden up 8 points. The president, when it comes down to those actual votes, is now leading by 13 points. What do you make of the polling errors we're seeing 4 years later?
Well, what's one thing that's completely clear is the polling does not capture, particularly President Trump's influence or approval in the United States. That is what's clear. There are a couple of reasons for this. You know, there's no real excuse for it except to say the polling is just a snapshot in time, how people are feeling in a particular part of the country, in a particular area, at a particular moment. And this is a really hard race to poll. That's the reality. And on top of this, it's become so polarized. I will just tell you, when you ask people who you're going to vote for, they don't like to tell you so much. We saw a lot of Biden signs and flags and places like that around the state. But when it comes to President Trump, people don't talk about it as much. That is a reality, even though pollsters are trying to make changes to how they weight their polls, which is interesting because even last time, 2016, for example, they said they don't even know if they asked the question about the education level of the voters. They keep trying to fine tune that when it comes to President Trump. So far, they continue to not get it right.
I still have questions for you with the presidential race, but I do want to ask you about some of our Utah races as well. For example, the McAdams-Owens race right now, that's too close to call. Is this what you expected there?
Well, yes. We expected this to be close. This is the most hotly contested race, of course, in the state of Utah. But a little context on this particular race. When Ben McAdams lost to Mia Love, this is by less than 700 votes in the end. And when we all went to bed that election night, Ben was only ahead by 5,400 votes. And it took 2 weeks for us to know who the winner was in that particular race. So last night we went to bed with Ben up 7,765 votes. This one is still amazingly close, and we're not going to know the results of this one for a couple of weeks. And really, we're seeing what the byproduct is of a pretty negative race. Most people would say, whatever happens in this one, we're just glad the commercials are stopping.
Yeah, that's true. I think we can all agree on that. There's a lot more here where you have a lot of other candidates, congressman, governor, all winning by large margins. Any surprises there?
No, there were no surprises in any of the rest of the races in the whole state of Utah. All of them went according to the polling that we were expecting, and even right down to all the constitutional amendments. Every one of them passed, of course, as you've been talking about on your show, but very few surprises. There are a couple things to look at in the numbers that are interesting, particularly that Spencer Cox was able to do so well in the state of Utah, outpolling Donald Trump in Utah also. That was one of the big surprises. The Republicans did even pretty well, the local Republicans, even better than the national ones.
Thanks to you for your analysis. That's Jason Perry with Utah's Hinckley Institute of Politics. Jason, have a great morning.
Thank you.
All right, let's get to some business news this morning. Cruise line industries still in limbo here, and Comcast making their own TVs. Here's your Good Morning Utah business report. With coronavirus cases on the rise worldwide, travel is still stunted. That means demand for oil still down. But with winter on the way, natural gas companies are seeing a recovery. Benchmark oil prices down 11% in the last month. Natural gas prices are up 33%. And no cruising out of the U.S. for a while. The Cruise Line Industry Association says it's extending its suspension of American cruise ship operations through the end of the year. Officials say that gives them time to put new coronavirus safety rules issued by the CDC last week in place. Plus, Comcast is already in the TV business. They deliver cable TV to millions of homes. Now it's got its eyes on the TV itself. The Wall Street Journal says Comcast is in talks with Walmart to develop and market a smart TV set, making it a competitor with the likes of Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon's Fire TV. And Subaru says sales of its cars are rebounding more than expected in the U.S. That is the automaker raising its profit forecast by more than a third to just over $1 billion. That's your Good Morning Utah business report.
Good morning, Lake Mountain. A gorgeous start to the day, clearing skies. Absolutely stunning conditions for today. Temperatures are going to be above normal, so enjoy those nice daily highs for today, for tomorrow, and for Friday. We have much colder temperatures by this upcoming weekend. We have clearing skies on our radar infrared loop here. Look at this, not much going on. A few clouds still lingering over parts of Wyoming. Those will certainly mix out as the day progresses. I'm telling you, with this area of high pressure building, all of that sunshine, those clouds are certainly going to be gone soon enough, and these winds are looking really pleasant right now. Thankfully, the winds are calm because we do have big changes in the wind department by Friday, so be sure you enjoy. Look at all these sunny icons. Let's get this regional forecast and high for today started. Sunshine all around. Mlad City 71, Park Valley 67, Morgan and Ogden 70 for you. Draper in the mid-70s, mid-60s for Park City, while Tualasee's upper 60s. So seeing lots of 60s and 70s. Emory 68 degrees for you. We have Escalante at 70, Bluff 74, and let's head on down to Cedar City where your high is 71 degrees along with Beaver. Coming up, I have your extended forecast, including a winter storm that we're tracking for this upcoming weekend. Back to you.
Ooh, all right, Erica, thanks so much. 6:41 now. We do have a major snag to warn you about on your morning drive. I-15, this is about 36th North in Riverdale. This is just a piece of the major congestion. We're seeing 2 lanes are completely closed. So southbound I-15 between Riverdale Road all the way to Clearfield. So you are going to experience some delays here this morning heading southbound on I-15. Choose another route this morning. That's not going to be clear until at least 7.
6:41 is the time. Coming up on GMU, election results continue to pour in. So we look at the biggest races both here in Utah and across the country.
Time now for Utah's most accurate forecast with Erica Martin, weather rate certified 9 years in a row.
Good Wednesday morning. I have an update for you on the Spirit Creek fire in Washington County because our surface smoke profile is starting to show some more activity as far as that real-time air quality promise to you at home. In the meantime, a live look outside. We are seeing clearing skies out there. A gorgeous start to the day. Sunrise is just after 7 a.m. and first light, well, it was at approximately 6:34 a.m. So a great day in store. So this is it right here. The fire that's currently burning. It started yesterday at approximately 4:50 p.m., but now we see a little bit of an expansion there as far as that surface smoke goes right in Washington County. It looks like currently maybe 150 acres burned. We'll give you more information on that, but I find it very important to let you know that we are having some issues here as far as surface smoke goes. You can see here when we compare it to our legend, or when we place this color on our legend, we're seeing grays to yellows there. That denotes that we do have some issues kind of more dense in that area. Again, that is the Spirit Creek fire currently burning in Washington County. Additionally, Bear Lake County in Idaho, Lincoln County in Wyoming, also seeing some grays here. Very important to always keep you updated on that air quality. In the meantime, radar infrared satellite blend picking up on clearing skies. So just seeing some grays here, right? That's just those low-level clouds. Remember, these are the high-level clouds in that bright white. So here we're just tracking everything clearing out, or as we say, mixing out as the day progresses, and that sun is definitely going to shine brightly. Take advantage. We have big changes by this upcoming weekend. I cannot emphasize that enough, guys. So here we have lots of sunny icons in the forecast for today. Malad City, 71. Good morning to you. Park Valley is 67. We have Salt Lake City hitting low 70s, mid 70s for Draper, Eagle Mountain upper 60s, Castledale 70s, Duchesne 67, Colville, good morning, 69, Lake Town 65 for you. We have Escalante at 70, Blanding 70, Green River 71, a pair of 6s for Roosevelt and Price, Huntington 68 degrees, and well, let's see, Enterprise 73, St. George 81, along with Springdale and Kanab 76. I wanted to get out of your way so you could see all those sunny icons, because here's where the change starts. Futurecast GFS, let's get this to work for us. We're going to push this out 80 hours. This is such an important forecast. I cannot emphasize this enough, because temperatures and conditions for today are going to be fantastic. But as this frontal boundary starts to dive on down, it's going to be a strong one. Additionally, there's a trough that's going to dig really deep down to the south, and it's going to tilt. It's going to squeeze everything, what we call frontogenesis, by Saturday into Sunday, and we're going to tap into a lot of moisture in the Pacific, because this low is going to mature over the Pacific Northwest. It's going to be very strong. Remember, counterclockwise circulation just as that trough starts to dig and as that cold front comes sweeping on through. So I promise you, the weather as far as winds go on Friday into Saturday are going to be very strong, damaging winds, and then we're tracking rain showers for all, a wintry mix for the PM for central northern Utah, Idaho, Wyoming, and Nevada, and then snow late Saturday into Sunday. Guys, if you are not on CW30 right now, be sure you go ahead and click it on over, and if you're on CW30, you stay put, and we'll keep you updated on this winter storm for the weekend. Back to you.
I know we're all getting ready for it. Thank you much, Erica. And you should get ready for some traffic this morning in Ogden and really all the way through Davis County. So right now you're seeing some big backups. They're going all the way up to 31st Street there on southbound I-15. You've got some traffic down there at Clearfield that's causing some congestion, and then that just kind of has a domino effect all the way back up the line. So give yourself some extra time. They're thinking that those lanes that are currently closed off there in Clearfield are going to be ironing themselves out here in about maybe 15 minutes, but in the meantime, it'll take you an extra 15 minutes just to get through.
All right, we're moving now to our election coverage. The results from the presidential race. Votes are still pouring in this morning. The presidential race has not been called. Let's take a look at the map here. So Joe Biden with 233 electoral votes, Trump with 213. The magic number both are looking for is 270. We'll go now to Utah's results.
And here in Utah, President Donald Trump appears to carry our state yet again. Preliminary results show President Trump beating former Vice President Joe Biden 58 to 38%, and he's picked up all 6 of Utah's electoral votes. At the latest count, 1.2 million Utahns have voted, the most ever in a presidential election. So let's break down the votes by the country. Both President Trump and Joe Biden picked up some major wins overnight. ABC's Faith Abube is watching the race from Washington.
Overnight, former Vice President Joe Biden in Wilmington, Delaware, energizing a car rally of supporters.
We believe we're on track to win this election.
Biden so far performing as expected as the vote counts roll in across the country.
And it ain't over till every vote is counted, every ballot is counted. But we're feeling good. We're feeling good about where we are.
The former vice president boosted by wins in traditional Democratic strongholds and the Pacific West Coast, taking California, Oregon, and Washington. And in a surprise outcome, Biden now leading in Arizona.
The state of Florida and his 29 electoral votes will go to Donald Trump's.
Trump winning the biggest prize so far, taking all of Florida's 29 electoral votes and performing well in rural areas. But as votes are still being counted, Trump in an early morning speech falsely claiming he won the race.
This is a fraud on the American public. Frankly, we did win this election.
The president also heading to social media and Twitter slapping a warning label on his tweet after he wrote in part, "We're up big, but they're trying to steal the election." Right now, the cliffhanger appears to be in the Rust Belt states of Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin, key battlegrounds that could decide who wins the White House. Wisconsin officials telling ABC News they expect statewide results as early as today. With votes cast and nothing else to help the race, thousands of anxious voters gathering in D.C.'s Black Lives Matter Plaza as the nation waits for final results. So far, it appears young people did not turn out to vote as expected. National exit polls suggesting that 18 to 29-year-olds make up the same percentage of the electorate as they did back in 2016. Faith Abube, ABC News, Washington.
And back here in Utah, we will have a new governor. So here are the results from that race. Lieutenant Governor Spencer Cox will become the next governor of Utah. His opponent, Chris Peterson, has already conceded to Cox last night.
Let's turn now to Utah, a race we are watching closely this morning. It has not been called, our 4th congressional district. ABC4's Jared Jatnini joins us in studio with more on what has certainly been the loudest race in Utah. Jared.
Sarah, the loudest and this year the most expensive. That race between incumbent Ben McAdams and Republican challenger Burgess Owen is within 9,000 votes. Still too close to call at last check. 64% of ballots are counted in Salt Lake County. McAdams has about 50% of the vote. Burgess Owen, you see, 46%. Now, the outcome of this race could impact the partisan control of the United States House of Representatives. Right now, all 435 seats in the House are up for election. Democrats have a majority over Republicans. Republican challenger Burgess Owens has, again, about 46% of Salt Lake County's vote this morning. Owens, who is new to the Utah political field, says he will work to stop human trafficking and keep funding for police. McAdams has campaigned he will prioritize accessible health care and affordable prescription drugs. Take a listen to what the candidates had to say prior to Election Day about how they'll fight for Utahns in Washington.
Stand up for what you believe in, and number 2, let's share our defeats. The most powerful 9 words in history that we can give out each other is, if I can do it, you can do it. We can only do that if we share with people how we overcame those obstacles, learn the lessons, at the same time give folks hope that they can also overcome those obstacles.
It's important that, I talk about the critical time we're in as a country. I think we've never been more divided than we are right now in my lifetime. And I tell them that, we love this country. We want to be part of healing it, of fixing it.
Now, campaign records indicate more than $20 million has been spent, making it the most money spent on TV ads in the district for a congressional race. Officials say a majority of that money has been spent on negative ads. Now, again, the race this morning still too close to call. McAdams narrowly won this race, Brian, back in 2018 with about 700 votes. And again, clearly this morning it continues to be a tight race.
He's got another one in for him this year again. Thank you much, Jared. Here's a look at Utah's other congressional races. In District 1, the Associated Press has now declared Republican Blake Moore the winner over Democratic challenger DARREN Perry. Moore replaces retiring Utah Congressman Rob Bishop. In the 2nd District, Republican incumbent Chris Stewart appears he'll win another term quite easily, beating challenger Cale Weston. Same story in District 3. Republican incumbent John Curtis cruising past Democrat DEVIN THORPE.
All right, let's take one last look at our weather, Erica.
All right, so we have big changes on the way. So Brian and Sarah, I know you guys love that sunshine. Take advantage today because we have big changes on the way by Friday into Saturday and Sunday. So if you a quick look at our futurecast, let's get this into motion, guys, and show you what we have in store. Cold front moving in, really strong winds by Friday, Saturday. Snow moving in late Saturday into Sunday. So for me, I love winter weather, so it's my type of weather. However, for everybody else, enjoy the sunny icons for today and for tomorrow. St. George, windy on Friday. I do think we'll see damaging winds Friday and Saturday, so be mindful of that. Building clouds on Friday, isolated showers Saturday, scattered showers on Sunday. Woo, we go from 80s to 40s. just like that. Wasatch Front, we go 70s, 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 and then 50s on Saturday, 30s on Sunday, guys. And I was generous. I bumped us up by about 5 degrees on Saturday and about 1 or 2 degrees on Sunday. It's going to be a wintry blast come this weekend. Back to you.
The wheels came off this weekend, Erica. I don't know what's going on there. Let's get a last look at your morning drive here. You got your wheels are at a standstill here in Ogden. So major backups right now, starting really in Clearfield and then going all the way up to 31st Street. Southbound I-15, they think this will be cleared up in a couple of minutes, but it's going to take some minute to just get through there this morning. So give yourself extra time.
Ooh, not a fun drive.
No.
Don't forget, we'd love to see your baby photos. We love celebrating a birthday in your family, your kids, your grandkids, your sister you want to embarrass. Share those photos with us. Email us news@abc4.com, and we will get them on air.
I feel like I have to do this when my family's here for Thanksgiving.
Yes, Erica,
oh yeah,
do it.
they're getting their payback.
Yeah, no kidding. I mean, payback tenfold out there on Saturday.
Absolutely.
Baby pictures.
Yeah, bring those muttons out, bring the coats out. You're going to need all of them.
Little babies all snuggled up in their winters.
Oh my God, can you send us those?
Thanks for making us part of your morning.